Honorable President, our very honored Professor Yu Long Yu, Chairman ICCR, Secretary President, Secretary ICCR, it is a particular privilege for us to be gathered here today to honor a civilizational partnership between the two oldest civilizations of history. Our specific subject today is Indology, and I have often wondered when Indology precisely began. It would not be too far-fetched to say that Indology must have existed before Alexander's invasion. After all, Alexander came in search of something that he must have heard about. He must have come, and he did come, in search of a knowledge that he had heard about. So inquiry into our nation and into our civilization preceded the oldest known invasion of our country. Indology represents the fascination of the world for India and its civilization. And this fascination is one of the great narrative histories of our common heritage. I can list only a few of the known sources or known scholars that have come in, and it is particularly pleasing as well as rational to say that China has contributed traditionally to the subject of Indology, perhaps more than anyone else, starting from Fa Hian, famous 405 to 411 agency, which is very early in the 5th century. Song Yun, very early in the 6th century. Yun Sang, very early in the 7th century. Yi Sing, late in the 7th century. So you can see a consistency. It is not a one-off experience. It is not a maverick arrival of an individual. It is a continuous search for something that India had to offer. This continues into the second millennium. The first, fully extant, I will not say great because there must have been scholarship before that, but the first fully extant sociological study of India is Al-Baruni's Tarikh al-Hind. Al-Baruni comes along with Mahmud of Ghazni. In the same entourage, one person is coming to loot, one person is coming in search of savagery, but along with him is a scholar coming in search of knowledge. Travelers, Ibn Battuta, the Portuguese were one of the great Indologists of their time, the great Indologists of their time. Their scholarship and their experience of the Mughal days remains a very primary source. So what were they in search of? They were not in search of trade. Trade with India had existed, which all the recorded history, those of you who are familiar with the history of Rome must have read Livy. Livy reports that in the Roman bazaar, in the Roman markets, there is an Indian bazaar. And this Indian bazaar, he writes, is draining so much gold from Rome's treasury, which is now being exported to buy Indian silk, that he's worried about the impact on Rome's economy. But it is not simply trade. What the world was seeking was something that we had to offer. India was the philosophy capital of the world. And India was a knowledge hub of the world. And this is really, which was the basis of the scholar's search for India. Philosophy, knowledge, and all the variety of implications that these two very simple words convey. It is well known, in a Rishi tradition, the definition of knowledge was the search for something different, the search for something new. The search for something new is a very interesting concept because it automatically means that I am looking for something that I do not know. It requires humility to accept that. The search for somebody else's knowledge is the search for difference. This search for difference leads to a mindset where you begin to accept the difference. And when you accept the difference in all its dimensions, whether the difference of attitudes, habits, and also differences of religion. And within this search for the difference lies something that is the most powerful part of our contemporary India, which is the plurality of our nation state and the plurality of our civilization. So welcome, sir. It is a great honor, Professor, to welcome you here and to honor you. By honoring you, we honor both our civilizations, and it is a particularly great honor that this award is being given to you by a scholar who is sitting in our midst, who is also our president. Thank you, sir.